Well, two violent incidents in downtown Vancouver yesterday have left members of the community in shock. One man was stabbed near Richards and Dunsmuir Streets. He lost a hand, but he's expected to survive. The other incident happened just across the street from our studio at West Georgia and Hamilton, where a man died following an attack outside the Queen Elizabeth Theatre. In fact, from our studio, we could see paramedics attempting to resuscitate the victim yesterday morning. Now, police have not released the victim's name. Vancouver police confirmed yesterday both attacks were random and unprovoked. A suspect is now in custody, a 34-year-old man from White Rock. He has not yet been named. And Vancouver Police Chief Adam Palmer spoke with media yesterday after the arrest.
And let me just say that there have been a lot of things that we have done. We've had really good success. Vancouver is not dying. Vancouver is not dead. Vancouver is not unsafe. That's all hyperbole, and it's not actually factual. There will be in any big city in Canada or North America, there will be shootings and stabbings and acts of violence, and this will not be the last one, and no city in North America could ever purport to not have any more crime. So there will be more violent crime that happens in a city the size of Vancouver. What I will say is that our crime numbers are way down, and I gave you the numbers. We will still have crimes like this that will disturb the public and are disturbing to me, and I'm sure to you on a personal level, as members of the media. But on the bigger issue there, let me just say that there are certain people, most people suffering from mental health issues in our community will never have any contact with the police. There are many people that we have compassion for that have mental health issues that we want to see get help and get on a better path. But there are also people with mental health issues who are extremely dangerous that we need to be afraid of and we need to have institutionalized.
That is Vancouver Police Chief Adam Palmer speaking with media yesterday. He spoke after a 34-year-old man from White Rock was arrested following those two violent incidents in downtown Vancouver. In one of them, a man was killed. Now, in a statement yesterday, Mayor Ken Sims said he is in direct contact with the various business improvement associations downtown about the public safety issue they are facing. Well, Landon Hoytr is the executive director of the Hastings Crossing Business Improvement Association. Hastings Crossing is a nearby neighborhood. And Landon's joined us in studio this morning. Good morning to you.
Morning, Stephen. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Just your general reaction about what happened yesterday morning.
Yeah, my heart goes out to the victim and the families involved in this. And this is an awful incident, and things like this can't and shouldn't be happening. And they really shake us to our core. The confidence in the public is tarnished here, and that's... that's frustrating to us as BIAs, but it's, I don't believe that the reaction and the solutions are always directed to the right place here. So it's frustrating to see this, and it's the response is not always the best.
Okay, and so tell me, well, first off, the response here has been, we have two sort of different responses. The mayor and the police chief are kind of on different pages here, in that the police chief is saying, the city is safe. Generally, crime is down, violent crime is down, stranger assaults or attacks are down. And the mayor is saying we have, and at the same time, I guess both can be true. At the same time, we still have a serious mental health issue and drug use issue in the city that leads to a lot of the crime we see. So where do you see the approach being wrong?
Yeah, so absolutely, the crime stats are down, and we see that, and I meet regularly with the police as well on this. I think that some of that is also because many of it's not being reported. A lot of people have lost faith in the police, and especially in the downtown east side where RBI is primarily located. There's a fear sometimes. There's also a belief that they're not doing enough or it doesn't make a difference. And a lot of that is because they're burdened and they're busy and they're focusing on other things, and I get that. But I think some of the challenges here is we're not seeing the VPD go after the real perpetrators here. Yes, there are people facing mental health challenges, and yes, we need more supports across the board there. But what we're not seeing is the police actually go after the actual criminals, the gang members, the drug dealers who are putting these people in situations, forcing them into poverty, forcing them to spiral, use drugs in more riskier situations. I walk the downtown east side, my BI, every single day. I see drug dealers and gang members hanging out on every single corner, while a police officer is down the block, targeting someone using drugs instead. And meanwhile, these dealers are just hanging out and they're facing nothing. And so that is really, really problematic when I think about it. And when our businesses see that going on, because they know what the real source of the problem is here,
Right.
and they're not seeing some action down on that.
Well, and you see people who have mental illness and who are addicted to drugs, being taken advantage of, being victimized,
Exactly.
essentially.
Preyed upon.
And so, have you had discussions with the police about your concerns?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, much of it sometimes goes unanswered. I think that there's perhaps a larger sort of discussion going on at higher levels, but we don't actually see that action. And I think it plays out when you have a dealer hanging out in front of a business, for example, and them being there literally for weeks, months at a time, seeing deals happen, and then, not anything else going on. Meanwhile, there's a film shoot happening. There's 5 police officers hanging out, being paid triple overtime or whatever it is
Right.
to be able to do that. And they're not actually doing anything for the business community or the residents in the community either.
But again, are these low-level drug dealers who really aren't, we're not talking about the kingpins of the drug underworld here. We're talking about some low-level dealers who are probably, maybe making money to buy their own drugs.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And I think some of those often result in those drug deals gone wrong. And, we had a shooting happen last week or 2 weeks ago, just, near Cordova and Carroll.
Yep.
And that was likely a deal gone wrong with one of these dealers in the middle of the night sort of thing. And so, but and I understand the police can't go after every single corner and stand on every single corner, but it's frustrating when when we tell them that there's a deal happening and the police tells me, oh, did you get their license plate number? Did you follow? I'm like, that's not my job. That's your job, So that's where it gets really frustrating here. And yes, we need more mental health supports. I think every supportive housing facility should come with space for people to hang out, healthcare, meals, whatever it might be, so that we're not finding people hanging out in the middle of our streets and in front of our businesses.
So people have someplace to go.
Exactly.
Ken Sim has been a big advocate of policing, and we have seen the police department increase in numbers as a result. Have you seen any tangible difference with those increased numbers of police on the street?
I think we're starting to see the increased police, but I think alongside that was supposed to be the 100 mental health nurses as well. And I think the main issue here is, we're not seeing those nurses to begin with, but I think the reason because of that is a labor shortage, and they're not being valued as high as a police officer. They're not paid the same amount as a police officer. They have to go through master's school. Police officers don't, yet they're paid half the amount. And so it's really frustrating to see that, and no wonder no one wants to take on that sort of role until they're valued like they really should be.
What struck a lot of people about this Landon yesterday was just the sheer brutality of it. We saw a man lose a hand. We saw another man die of his wounds. How are people supposed to feel walking around downtown when a random attack like this happens?
Yeah, even I feel unsafe, and I talk about, I meet with people in the community who have been working in this community for ages, and they feel unsafe and for the first time, and that's really striking and really disappointing. And so but at the same time, we are having, a number of new and diverse and young businesses open in the community who are really trying to make it, and we need that support. And so, yes, we need people to visit them, customers to come into these businesses, but we also need the police, the city, and the province to step up here to really take action on those issues and the higher level issues that really make a difference.
Landon, thank you so much for coming in this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Stephen.
Landon Hoytr, Executive Director of the Hastings Crossings Business Improvement Association.